All right, so I ended up seeing the Plasma channels here video recently, right? He just put out, well, he probably recorded and did everything. It takes forever to make videos. So he's been working on that forever. Yeah. But like I saw today, I'm sure he had it like, all up there, then scheduled and so on. It's not like me who just bangs it out and tries to say that. Anyways, point is, uh, I was thinking about this, and it's like, wait, back in the day, I was a kid, teenager that loved the Science Channel, right? As I'm sure, like many people do, that are like us, kinds of people that like science and shit. So there's that. But back in the day, they were looking at geoengineering projects specifically for cloud-based cover, right? So if we can produce more clouds, we can reduce all the light, right? But they wanted to fire these high pressure water hoses, together and then see if they can create a very fine misty spray. And I'm like, yeah, to put it bluntly, okay, like pretty darn bluntly, it didn't work. It was pretty shitty. To be fair, there's probably a bunch of different Bernoulli principle percolation like setups that would have ultimately meant that they used another peristaltic kind of phase to lower the pressure as it rose more air up and all this other stuff they would have probably had to have done, right, to be able to make that work. But then at that point, it's effectively a vibrational peristaltic pump and all this other shit. To really kind of get it to properly, turn into molecular sized, water droplets, or very small, very close to those sizes. But this had me thinking. His video had me thinking because it was like, oh wait, yeah, ionic wind would condense the majority of it, but what's left over is very small molecular and nano-sized water droplets. And if it's in a pretty decently deionized state after, which is effectively a ion engine, by the way, it will work really, really well. And it's a higher altitude, right? And so if it's buoyant, as you can kind of make that happen, you get it near a mountain, and get a couple of good balloons, right? It's like, oh well, I mean, a little solar panel here, a little windmill there, and you can absolutely capture a large percentage of the water that's there, but you're not really trying to capture the water. What we're really trying to do is basically form clouds very specifically, right? Because that's what the geoengineering would be about. So that means we can force rain exactly where we want it, right? We can condense it out, sure, but we don't really need to do that. That's what I'm trying to get across, right? It's like we can actually force water in a given area. We can collect a good amount of it, right? Sure, but mostly what it's about is forcing a type of that's sublimation more than anything for ice in my head there. The point is, because we're cooling it really rapidly, it then condenses a lot faster, and then it would sublimate and then get accelerated, right? And so like that creates a type of energy battery here. And so we force an ice, and then we force a condensate, right? And so like it constantly does that, and we can gather that, and then that gives us the peristaltic piezoelectric based turbine, right? The bladeless turbine. And then that, of course, means you get like the windmill, and you get so really you can get a lot of energy from that. But it does mean that like we're trying to sublimate something more than anything. And of course, that means you do need a larger battery storage, so water total storage, right? That's not a bad thing, though, right? Like if you got light up there and it's already very high altitude, anyways, that means you can really honestly get a lot further with that design. In fact, you'd get more electricity than you'd ever need for it, and you can basically, have a constant raining, cloud cover area where you want it. And my thought process is where we farm, the middle America, right? Because we got Colorado right there, right? We got the Rocky Mountains and that little, slice, and it's like that's good. We got, we're not light all the time. Wind doesn't always blow, Texas with good old fashioned coastlines and mountains. So I'm like, yeah, I could constantly get energy now. It would be forever. Well, not really. That's not really how that works. But it's pretty much consistently always going to have that cycle that's always producing energy, right? And the main thing, of course, means is like instead of trying to flood them because they need, they need the water. It allows for us to dump it the right way. So we basically have a more consistent rain schedule that doesn't cause like huge tornadoes as much. It would still happen. There's no getting out of that. But then we can still ultimately also remove a lot of the heat from that area, and that's good. And then like I live here in Arizona, so I'm actually in a mountain range area, and I'm like, well, if we go further west and we hit that, it's possible to consistently get a lot more of that rain to dump into these more deserty areas, which would be great. And we have a valley kind of dead zone, which is the worst actually. Heavy pollution, smog likes to build up, wind and rain doesn't happen enough. The wind will happen, but that doesn't really do anything but produce a lot of dust, and it just seems to make the pollution stick still in a different way. Sucks. And that's the valley of in between all these other mountains. That's what they call it that. But it just means that it's kind of rough, right? And so it's like, oh well, I could dump rain now. I can form an oasis in a way. It would take a good amount of engineering to put it in there, and buoyant structures are actually not that hard. It's just a bunch of balloons, effectively. And some cables, which we don't have that, right? So it's like, no, it sounds really expensive. We have solar panels that are way cheaper than coal, and we don't really need the size of windmills that would be for you guys. So yeah, it's pretty cheap. So, and then light's already there. But you see, we're at a higher altitude where I'm at. All right, so that means, hey, you gotta let it go up there, But if you don't know, around the valleys where it rains more. Okay, so we're talking Phoenix, Arizona here. This is in the valley, right? But that's actually got a lot of rain where it dumps into those areas. But that means you don't have to have it there, right? And then I got to thinking, hey, you know what? Coastal cities they need more electricity anyways, and it's never-endingly a thing that they can use now, which is wonderful. So it's like I could force our weather to a particular way because I already have radio waves. I already have this that can also generate some of that too, right? Yeah, and then it's like, oh, I can actually do really good weather mapping, and we have a lot of weather mapping already, right? And so these models then get really accurate. And so our predictions for what that will look like for us is fine, but for others it's like, yeah, well, it's mostly just going to dump off into the ocean. From there, wherever that might go and lead to, it's it gets a little bit more tricky, right? And then you have to get into the global weather mapping system and the global models that we have to be able to model that. And it's like, oh well, it's actually pretty easy to do on that side, but it means we'd have to cloud compute a little here to get that done, and get some super computer time. But it'd be worth it, though. We have a fucking barrel called global warming staring down on our asses, and I'm not a big fan of that guy. So there's that. But then I think about that, too. It's like we have an Arctic region, and we have the Arctic. Nothing like land bridges to fuck up all of the traffic for certain people with big boats. They have lots of billions of dollars. Yeah, it's like, hey, no, I want the Arctic Circle to always be free in a big ocean. I don't at all. That's in my, you know what I mean? Like, to put it bluntly again, turns out here there used to be a lot of land over by the United Kingdom here that connected it to France. And it's like, well, we probably won't get that, but it'd make it a lot easier to dam, wouldn't it? If you could get the ice to form back in the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic. You know what I mean? So it would be really a lot easier to get a lot more energy and to use that to our advantage. Now, that means it's way cold over here in the far northern region. Oh, is it? Fucking buckle up or something. I don't know, man. Jesus, put some layers in. I don't fucking know. Go move south. That's what you're telling us. Go move north. Hey, why don't you go move south, huh? I'm a bit of a prick like that. You know, like they don't care, I don't have to care. That's how that works. But the thing is that it means traffic. I can put airships basically in a tethered line system that these things are a part of, which then generate a fuck ton of electricity. You know what I mean? And fuck tons of water. And then I have electricity and water, and I could easily put a fiber optic there, and then I got internet. In fact, I got a lot of things doing that, which is a constant, never-ending, you know, kind of like what they do in Vegas. It's like a train here almost, but it's not. It's clearly not. You know, you have to get this thing. There's a tram, like, you know, whatever, right? You know, we can't have it to be the train. The trains are so. Here in America, they hate the trains. Okay, like we don't do trains here. This is air stuff, air travel, nothing but air. Okay, like it's just air, right? Nothing like that going on here. We're gonna be able to get it done. Okay. Right, but it's like, look, it's all automated finally. You know, you just got to go on the thing, and it, you know, and then that's you know, slowing down at its curve angle, and that's when you know, and matching, and you just step over, and and it takes you to where you need to go. And you got the nice network here now. You know, the different heights here. You know, different links, right? You know, different ports, almost like a, you know, I don't know, like. Air-like port of some sort. Maybe there's like these things that go down, and then like you just sort of step on like a terminal. Maybe I don't know. Maybe instead that's too much. We got to get the ski lift going. Yeah, it's got to get the and get you up there. They get you up there, right? You know, just slowly but surely, you know, the ski lift get you up there. I don't know. I just can't help but like smile at how fucking much Americans, and I'm American by the way, but it's not all of it, but it's just too many of them, and I'm a part of them, you know. So it's like my small percentage that likes trains and like air train, you know, but it's more of a tram like kind of system, you know, but. All of a sudden we're terrible people because we want to have good, clean, fucking free, basically travel, because it would be it'd be free, it'd be fairly free. Like it'd be really easy to make so much money on it just from the electricity alone and all the water that you get. Let alone like, hey, wait, if I do this right, any fecal matter, urine, any of that from that then turns into its own soil and more, and I can just dump that into right back into the heartland of America. And it's like, say what you want, man, but that's food. It's going to take some wind, it's going to take some water, it's going to take some light, it's going to turn it into food that we're going to eat. Little tiny machines, real tall. There's real tall, you know, and the nano size, you know, size of things. They're real tall here. Yeah, like look, you just got to zoom in hands. You got to see it's very tall machine. These little itty bitty nano machines all collectively working together that all suddenly produce this food that I eat in a recursive growth medium like manner. I don't know. I mean, you know, it works though. I'm still eating myself, so like, I guess we got our nano machines now. still using those. Last thing I thought, it's like, you know, it's a bunch of those that are collectively making me work. Bioorganic nanomachine robot guy I am, that has Ghost in the Machine sort of thing happening. So there's that happening. Anyways, but it's everyone. But they're like, no, we're not attached to that. We're attached to the physics of reality. That's our heaven. And I'm like, so am I, bitch. What's the difference? Ours is special. It's extra dimensional. I can do that. Why wouldn't I be doing that the same? You know, like, you don't. How can you trust these dimensional people? Huh? Yeah, you don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know. Like, how are you talking to them? How come you know? Yeah, I just like to know. Can you tell us how to discover them? Like I've done on my YouTube channel. I'm just being a dick. I have actually done certain things like that to like be able to experimentally see, you know, that kind of thing. But then is that really religion? And it's just like I'd like to be able to know, you know, nothing to do with that. You know, like knock more and more of their little things down. I think we're controlling the weather. That's God. We're controlling the resource. That's God. Controlling it. That's God. We point ourselves through God to the top. And I'm like, no, man. Like, we don't need you to do that. That's stupid over there. You know? Like, dimensionally, we will smite. We? Where did that come from? But it's like, no, wait, I got a multiple dimensional matrix of fluid here in a thermodynamic manner. I can see as neutrinos and light charged particles and light in general and even more ionic systems happen to combine together with various biochemical activity playing its roles of impact, influence, interactivity, interference, so on the system on a very large macro scale. And I can detect all those things everywhere. Shouldn't everybody get the access to it? Shouldn't everybody? Well, no, I mean, those are enemies. They'd kill us. We can't trust them. We have to believe. We can't possibly talk, learn, set aside our differences. I feel like I'm starting to do the Charlie Chaplin. You know what I mean? The speech. Right? I'm just saying, I feel like I'm starting to do the Charlie Chaplin speech. It's like, why? Jews, Gentiles are fine. What is the problem? And it's like, no, I hate you. I fucking hate this guy. We voted, well, I didn't. Others voted this fucking Trump guy in. And you know what happened? He waved. He did a Nazi leader. You can see why somebody wants to go to that kind of desert and leave the fucking hell out of this place alone. Like, fuck this place, I'm out, see ya! Runs off. 100% I'm on that. That's it, I'd be right there. Like, hey, do you need a gopher? Need a guy that you can talk to sometimes? Like, what's up? Get the hell out of here. Fucking jeez. But, you know, what it is. I think about it because it's like, no, I mean, strung between different mountains, right, in mountain systems, it's 100% viable. You know, and like then we get depth, which is like, man, what are we gonna do with all of our airplanes that we no longer need? I don't know, fucking nothing. Let them turn into other aluminum products or something. I don't fucking know. You see this thing? There was this thing. There was like aluminum apparently is now transparentable, just straight hardcore aluminum. They did this whole thing. Maybe I can link it. I can find it. I'm pretty sure I saved it from Reddit, right? And it's a whole thing that turns. Yeah, it's a verified, like, good actual science study where they turned basic aluminum into a fully transparent, like, window aluminum. And it's just like, that is so cool. I love that. Holy shit. Yeah, I could totally use that for so many things. Oh, right, yeah, no, their fuselage is so important, yeah. An aluminum battery, maybe, some, I don't know. Don't care about your shit. Hydrocarbon bastard. And I'm the guy that goes, I'll just produce pyrolysis in a very cheap, hyper-efficient manner by combining it together with multiple fucking organ-like movement systems. So I was like, this is a whole thing that I do an awful lot. I mimic synthetic processes in a bioorganic manner, or it leads from one to another, right? And then they go through, right? It takes wind and solar and some electricity that's there, right? That gets generated. There's nothing like sand or something, and piezoelectrics and this world generator battery system, and you connect them to these huge structures that heat up and condense and heat and cool, right? And there's a charge difference there, and this can also work in the air. And then there's like what is this, aluminum or like a cloth that I just put some sand together on it. There's a whole thing going on with that. So, yeah. It's almost like we don't ever need hydrocarbons. It's almost like we have more than enough resources, like a certain good book apparently pretends that people, are going to listen to, but they never do. It's like, you have a lot of resources. And, I'm actually not Christian. I'm not even religious. I'm an atheist myself. But it's like, I love doing this because it's like, as an atheist, I've learned more than enough from your preachy-ass bullshit. Too many of you do. There's no one over there. Just imagine there's that, like, like, hey, there's more than enough to go around for everyone if we just simply do the work properly. All of us have all of the resources that we'll ever need. And then they're like, I forgot that one, and I don't like that one. I want to use this excuse to hurt you. You don't follow my stuff, but I am allowed to judge. Yeah, it doesn't. It says the opposite of that, actually. Okay, so there's that. Right. I don't know, man. There's weird stuff here sometimes. That's what it is. I wish I had the capability to do some of that shit. But, yeah, this is not really what that is. It's a good idea, though. It's a good concept. Totally. It's a launch platform, too, if you ever get, like, airships, spaceships going. Like, more than enough water, more than enough electricity. Fucking higher, and you can... Fine, yeah.